Markey leaves, you don't have quorum for amendments. Aye. Okay.
No, we do, so.
Okay.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to call up amendment number 4.
Senator Markey, you may proceed with your amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, this amendment adds further authority for the chairman to seek a subpoena for 2 companies along with the United States Department of Transportation for documents and communications relating to a political stunt orchestrated by the state of Florida in September of 2022. Florida used interest earned on COVID-19 state and local recovery funds to arrange for a group of Venezuelan migrants to be flown from Texas through Florida to Martha's Vineyard. The migrants were told that they were traveling to Boston or Washington, D.C., or would receive housing and employment assistance. All of that was one big lie. Instead, they were brought to Martha's Vineyard, where a Fox News camera was waiting to exploit their difficult circumstances. This inhumane stunt may have violated the United States Department of Transportation's charter broker rule, which prohibits brokers from misrepresenting the destination of a charter flight, and may have been an unlawful use of COVID-19 recovery funds. In September 2022, I sent letters to both the Department of Treasury, Office of Inspector General, and the U.S. Department of Transportation, urging them to investigate. Both responded within a few months, indicating that they were investigating within their respective jurisdictions. If this committee intends to use its compulsory power to investigate incidents that occurred in previous years, I see no reason why we should also not examine this outrageous abuse. Of course, I'd rather we scrap both of these unnecessary investigations and return to the bread and butter issues that are squarely within the committee's jurisdiction, which includes Elon Musk saying that there is a dire condition in the aviation sector of the American economy right now. We should be examining those alarmist statements to determine whether or not our air traffic control system is, in fact, operating in a way that is safe and efficient at this time. Elon Musk says it is not. And what impact DOGE's cuts may have on transportation safety in our country. That's our principal responsibility here. But if the chairman intends on going down this path, then this committee should investigate Florida's cold-hearted political stunt as well. There are real questions as to its legality, and I urge my colleagues to support this amendment.
Well, I thank my friend from Massachusetts for raising this amendment. I actually think this amendment raises an important issue. Back in October of 2021, in the first year of the Biden administration, I introduced legislation that would change where illegal immigrants were sent and not have them sent in mass numbers to Texas and other places, which unfortunately my Democrat colleagues seem not to care about the crimes of violence that were committed, about the enormous burden. And instead, my legislation proposed we move them to Martha's Vineyard and other places like Nantucket and the Hamptons and Palo Alto, where rich liberals sip Chardonnay and explain that those mean red states don't want 12 million people invading them. Now, at the time I filed that legislation, the elected officials in and around Martha's Vineyard had quite a lot to say. In fact, I want to quote from what the county commissioner at Martha's Vineyard said in response to my legislation. Keith Chattonover said in response to this legislation, quote, "I would love Martha's Vineyard to become a haven for new immigrants to this country, but Senator Cruz has no idea what he's talking about regarding a border crisis." He continued, "Immigrants make our country stronger, as evidenced by immigration from Brazil and other countries to the Vineyard, and he is trying to whip up the racial anxieties for political gain, which is essentially the entire GOP platform anyway. Well, we now know that that county commissioner was utterly and completely full of nonsense. How do we know that? Because some months later, Governor Ron DeSantis did precisely what I had proposed in my legislation. He flew to Martha's Vineyard, not 10,000 illegal immigrants, not 1,000 illegal immigrants, not even 500. He flew 50 illegal immigrants to Martha's Vineyard. And suddenly the self-righteous officials who claim Senator Cruz does not know what he's talking about on illegal immigration, despite the fact that I represent Texas and our state has seen firsthand the suffering that Democrat open border policies have caused. 50 illegal immigrants arriving on Martha's Vineyard caused those hypocritical officials to immediately declare a public emergency and to deport and physically remove those illegal immigrants within 24 hours. It was truly a stunning display of hypocrisy. The very same people who said we would welcome immigrants to Martha's Vineyard as a haven when they actually arrived, put them in handcuffs, and removed them within 24 hours. So, I will note, however, Senator Markey's amendment is different from his first one. Senator Markey's amendment does not remove the authorization for Massport. It simply adds an additional authorization for Martha's Vineyard. And so expanding the authority to examine what happened at Martha's Vineyard, I'm certainly amenable to that. And so I'm willing to accept Senator Markey's amendment, and I'm fine to accept it by a voice vote.
I'd like a roll call.
Okay, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Thune? There's not a quorum.